And I got a surprise for everyone that I want to share and the tell-all. And I'm pretty sure that that's going to piss Sophie off.
Why do you hate me? Why did you ask them to keep us separate and then avoid me?
In this video, we're going to be giving you a breakdown of the utter train wreck, specifically focusing on the highly anticipated, deeply toxic reunion between Pedro and Sophie. Stay tuned to find out what happened when they were finally forced into the same room after months of absolute silence, because things got incredibly petty very quickly. Coming up, we'll be revealing the massive surprise Pedro brought along just to hurt his ex, and the brutal accusations leveled by his sister Nicole that turned the entire stage into a war zone. But first, we need to talk about the absolute immaturity that took place before the cameras even started rolling. Most people heading into a reality TV reunion try to showcase some level of growth or healing, but Pedro clearly didn't get that memo. Instead, he spent the weeks leading up to the shoot executing a calculated ghosting strategy, completely cutting Sophie off after leaving the Dominican Republic. He didn't just stop at ignoring her texts, he took it straight to the network executives. Pedro flat out demanded that producers keep them completely separate backstage, refusing to share a green room or even walk past her in the hallway. It's the kind of behavior you expect from a bitter junior high kid who got rejected, not a grown man who claims to have moved on. And if you needed proof that this wasn't about boundaries but pure malice, Pedro gave the game away to a producer backstage when he proudly admitted that he had a massive surprise planned for the stage.
And I got a surprise for everyone that I want to share and the tell-all. And I'm pretty sure that that's going to piss Sophie off.
Explicitly stating that he was pretty sure it was going to piss Sophie off. That doesn't sound like someone who has healed. It sounds like someone who is entirely consumed by revenge. When the producers finally forced them onto the stage together, the tension was immediate. Sophie wasted zero time confronting him about his absurd behavior, demanding to know why he hated her so much that he couldn't even look her in the eye or tolerate being in the same room.
Why do you hate me? Why did you ask them to keep us separate and then avoid me? And then now you're acting like, oh,
No, I don't
we
hate
love
you.
our friendship,
Look,
but you
I don't
can't even
I-
walk past me.
I don't hate
That's
you.
so weird.
I know.
Pedro tried to play it cool, offering a weak deflection by claiming he didn't actually hate her and that he was just protecting his peace, but his body language said otherwise. He sat there with a really smug look, completely unable to mask his bitterness. The reality is that Pedro's entire anger stems from a deep-seated entitlement. During their time in the Dominican Republic, Sophie reportedly went on a date and kissed another guy, an act that Pedro immediately branded as unforgivable cheating, despite the fact that they were technically broken up at the time. He views relationships as purely transactional. He bought her an expensive $2,000 necklace, and because he spent that money, he felt he owned her total submission and affection. When he didn't get it, his ego shattered, leading to this grand display of stage-managed pettiness. What makes this entire situation hilarious is that Pedro is now trying to buy love and affection elsewhere, seemingly convinced that his new career and money can mask his massive insecurities. He acts like the realest love he ever had wasn't with Chantal, and now he's just drifting from one transactional relationship to the next, using expensive gifts to anchor women to him. Sophie, for all her obvious flaws and games, didn't deserve to be dragged through a public ambush. But Pedro was determined to win the breakup at all costs. He wanted to look like the alpha who had completely upgraded, but instead, his dramatic backstage rules and childish refusal to coexist just exposed how deeply bothered he truly was. The moment Pedro dropped his grand surprise onto the tell-all stage, any illusion of him being a changed, mature man completely evaporated. He didn't just introduce his brand new girlfriend, Valentina, he immediately began parading her around as the absolute love of his life. It was a move executed with an incredibly smug, almost giddy facial expression, clearly designed to maximize the emotional damage. But if you look at the timeline, the timing of this entire relationship is just a little too convenient to be authentic. He spent months ghosting his ex, demanded total isolation backstage, and then suddenly unmasks a perfect new romance the second the cameras start rolling. It's a transparent attempt to prove to the world and to himself that he won the breakup. Sophie, however, sat there completely unbothered, her face showing total indifference to his desperate bid for jealousy. Instead of looking like a successful man who moved on to bigger and better things, Pedro just looked like a junior high kid trying to make his ex mad by bringing a rebound to the school dance. But just when Pedro thought he had successfully secured his petty victory, the entire plan was completely hijacked by the real boss of the family. Enter his sister, Nicole. For viewers viewers who haven't seen her in a while, her appearance on stage was a massive shock in itself. She looks like a completely different person, sporting so much plastic surgery that you genuinely have to wonder if a surgeon managed to erase her old face and graft on a totally different identity. But while her face might be brand new, her toxic personality hasn't changed a single bit. Nicole has a long history of being completely exhausting, showing time and time again that she simply cannot stand any other woman occupying a space in her brother's life. Sophie was already well aware of this, but Nicole quickly made it clear that she had a brand new target in her sights. Nicole wasted absolutely no time launching a full-scale, aggressive attack on Valentina. She proudly admitted to stalking the new girlfriend's social media profiles, pulling up photos and analyzing her lifestyle with pure malice. Because Valentina frequently travels and posts about her trips, Nicole instantly jumped to the most extreme conclusion possible on national television, openly implying that Valentina might actually be working as an escort.
I don't know if she's a kind of the escort, being honest.
It was a brutal, classless attempt at character assassination, driven by a bizarre, almost possessive need to control who Pedro associates with. The moment those words left Nicole's mouth, the smug smile instantly vanished from Pedro's face. You could see the exact moment his heart sank, realizing that the grand romance he spent months planning to show off was being systematically dismantled by his own family in front of millions of people. In a desperate bid to salvage his pride, Pedro immediately switched into a bizarre, over-the-top defensive mode, delivering some incredibly intense fighting talk. He stood up on that stage and boldly declared that he would defend Valentina with his shield and his sword, making a grand show of his loyalty.
I learned from my past, and I want to defend her, with my shield and my sword. I don't want to make the same mistake I made in the past. This is the woman that I want to marry.
He went so far as to give his family a massive ultimatum, vowing that he is fully prepared to cut his own mother and Nicole completely out of his life for good if they refuse to respect his future marriage. It sounded incredibly brave, but nobody watching was actually convinced. The reality is that Pedro is entirely incapable of following through on that threat. His mother and sister have completely controlled his life, his decisions, and his finances for years. He is deeply trapped in a toxic family dynamic where no woman will ever be considered good enough, because Nicole operates with an attitude that if she can't control him, nobody can. When you strip away all the stage drama and the loud arguments, the future of this new relationship looks incredibly bleak. Pedro's face at the end of the night said everything you need to know. He looked completely defeated, knowing deep down that this relationship is already doomed to fail, just like his marriage to Chantal did. He can try to buy love and affection with expensive gifts and transactional promises, but as long as he continues to enable his mother and sister, history is always going to repeat itself. Sophie might have her own massive flaws, but she ultimately managed to escape a cycle of manipulation that Valentina is just now stepping into. What do you think? Is Pedro actually going to stand up and cut off his family, or is Valentina just the next casualty in Nicole's ongoing mission to destroy her brother's love life? Leave a comment below.